Hi there, this is Andrew Hale. I've had some requests for a video on how to hook a FM transmitter and an iPod to a Gemmy holiday music box for your lights for one of the videos that I posted. So I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick and show you how easy it is, and hopefully it'll help somebody out. So here's what you need. You need to have, obviously, number one, a iPod. You need to have your iPod cable, that you can plug in. And if you don't have one, a wall charger for your iPod that's, USB to AC, that goes into the wall. That will take care of the iPod part of it. You need a really good FM transmitter. I got this one at Radio Shack. It's a digital readout, and as you can see the digital screen, there's no dials or anything like that. And what's really important here is it has a AC/DC plug that can go in, a DC plug, 5 volt, that can go into the wall. The reason that is because if you want to transmit this all the way to the street from where your Gemmy is, it's got to have enough power to do that. And you also want it on the exact station. So, I can set this to 99.1 or 90.1 or whatever station I want that's not being used, and it will reach out to the street, actually about a whole block down. Most of them, are going to have your regular stereo plug, and we'll do that here in a minute. So then you'll need your cable that came with your Gemmy box. This isn't it. My Gemmy box is actually already up outside, and I wasn't going to shoot this outside in the dark. So just pretend like this is the plug that goes out to the Gemmy. You need a stereo Y plug. What this is, it's got one male end stereo plug, and then your two female ends that you're going to plug one end to the Gemmy and one end into the FM transmitter. We'll get there in a minute. And then you need a universal AC adapter, and that will actually be used for your FM transmitter. Most of them come with multiple tips, so you'll just need to find a tip that will fit into whatever FM transmitter that you get. So this one here is the tip that came with it. They come out like so, and you just plug the tip in, to the end of it, and that'll work. So let me plug that back in real quick. Okay, so here's all you do. You take your iPod and you put the power source to your iPod like so. Get that in there. Okay, so my power source is to my iPod, and then into your USB adapter, and then that is your iPod setup for your power. And then you want your universal AC plug for the wall to go into your FM transmitter. Now mine is on the side right there, and it's marked as 5 volt. So I plug my plug in to the side there, and then I look at my universal adapter, which the light isn't real good in here, but there's a slider right there on it, and I have a choice there for 4.5 volts or 6 volts, so I'll choose 6 volts, and that'll be just a little bit more power for it, and that'll go into the wall. And here's the important part. This is what everybody wants to know. How in the world do you get all this hooked to the Gemmy? This is the key. It's your Y plug. This is just as if you wanted to share your iPod music with someone else. All iPods have a output for the headphones. So find your output for your headphones. It's in the same spot as all. You could use an MP3 player. I will tell you, I tried an MP3 player with this at first, and it didn't work as well as it did with the iPod. The iPod really puts out a good quality signal, which really helps. But there you can see the stereo Y plug into the iPod, okay? And then you've got two female ends. Well, there's only one logical connection here. One end is going to go to your FM transmitter, and one end is going to go to your Gemmy box. That way your iPod is not only transmitting to the Gemmy box, it's transmitting to the FM transmitter, which is therefore transmitting to the cars. So here is my output, or my input for my stereo transmitter, and that will go into one of the Y plugs. So there's that. I'm going to set my phone down and plug it in. Okay, So there's that one. So that's plugged in. This is just the power, so don't pay attention to that. That's going to the power. And this one here would go to the Gemmy. So, one end of this is plugged into the Gemmy box outside, and the other end is plugged into the stereo Y plug. So there's my iPod, and one end of the Y plug, this is the power. Again, don't pay attention to that. That's going to go into the wall. So one end of the Y plug is going to the Gemmy, which would be this end here. That would go out to the Gemmy box. And the other end is plugged into my FM transmitter. So then at this point, all I have to do is get my childproof locks off of my power here and plug in my FM transmitter in one. Make sure it's set to the right voltage. Plug my iPod power, and the reason you need power for your iPod is it's going to be running for hours on end. So I get my little green light there on that, and there my iPod's turning on. And here's the important part too, is here's my FM transmitter, which hopefully will work. And it could be that I put the plug on backwards. These universal adapters have positive and negative polarity in them, so you have to make sure. There it goes. So I set mine to 90.1 right there. So that is set to 90.1, transmitting out to my street, and it's plugged into the wall. So as I zoom out here, that's plugged out to the wall right there near the front of my house. And then my iPod is plugged in, which is also plugged into the wall. So I've got power to both, unlimited power from my wall source. And when I start to play my music, just turn my iPod on and I go to my Christmas lights, which I have a separate folder for that in my music. And I just go to my Christmas lights. I named my album Christmas Lights. And then I don't have to say I have anything hooked to it. And I would hit, randomize or play or whatever. And then one end of it's playing to the Gemmy, which that's where that would be, into the Gemmy box. And the other end is transmitting to my FM transmitter, which is on 90.1, transmitting out to the cars on the street. And then on the Gemmy box, you just set it to AUX, the auxiliary AUX, and your lights will blink to your music. So that's it. If you have any questions, just send me a message. But again, just your iPod, your cord for your iPod, and then a power source for that. Your Y plug with your one male end and two female ends. The cord that goes out to the Gemmy. Your FM transmitter with a digital readout that can be plugged in to a wall source. And when you lay all that in front of you, there's only one way you could plug it all in. They only all hook together one way. There's no other way to do it. So hope that helps. And again, send me a message if you have any more questions. Take care.